So how do we get to this situation or scenario where we don't feel as comfortable with testing? And from what I've seen and what I've experienced, a lot of common front end course progression, they'll hit you with HTML first, which makes sense, and then CSS and JavaScript. And then if it's focused on React, you're going to learn a lot about React. And then you got a bunch of other stuff and like routing, Redux, that may fall under React. You learn about some APIs. You may learn something about backend, maybe, but all of that's kind of there. And then a lot of times at the end, that little bitty section is testing. And it makes sense to me why you would not want to throw testing concepts right at the beginning, because if you're just seeing HTML for the first time and know nothing about coding, like that's a lot that you're going to be taking in. And then CSS and JavaScript, like that's plenty. So for me, one of the things I'm hoping that is that there's a way that we can somehow bring this closer to the beginning of the process without making it too confusing, because too many times it's an afterthought and now you're learning on the fly. And then you may be feeling like me, like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing all this writing tests? I just want to write the code and get it out. It works. Take it. So here's another thing. Where do we even start? So the gift and the curse with front-end development oftentimes is that you have a lot of options. So you don't really know where to start. You got Jest, Enzyme, testing library, all of these different things, and they all bring a ton of value. But if you're trying to do this by yourself, it may be confusing. So one of the things that I try to do is rely on the documentation, like what the React docs say. And if you're going onto a team, they're probably going to have something set up already that you can use. So you'll probably learn with your team. But if you're doing this on your own, yeah, you have to do research and try to choose what's best for you. So let's look at this. So this is from the 2020? Yeah, this is the State of JavaScript Survey 2020. And this is all the test suites. So you can see the satisfaction testing libraries at the top. And React testing library, this is what you use to test your React components. And then right beneath it, we have Jest, which is a test runner. And we're going to go into all of that and what that means. But you're able to do unit testing and run all of your tests through Jest. So that's probably where we're going to spend most of our time. And then I just find this interesting because Enzyme was killing the game when I got into it. And it wasn't even on the survey for this year. That was interesting to me. So they've been dropping every year, and a lot of people have been going towards React testing library. So I'm not going to talk about Enzyme. You can look that up on your own if you want.
Why did it die, Joe?
Why did it die? Yeah. Well, Kent C. Dodds is like the go-to guy for testing in JavaScript. And he basically wanted to come up with a better approach of, so if you see in the chat, they're saying you want to test your code the way that your users actually are using your code, not looking at implementation details. And we're going to get more into that later, but from what I've experienced so far, it makes more sense with the way that you actually interact with your code. So,
okay.
Good question.